Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the teaser that Riot has just released for Aphelios, the Weapon of the Faithful. We're going to be checking it out together, see what we can find, and then we're going to be going over a website that kind of gives us, a lot more information. So all that being said and done, guys, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Let's just jump right into it though. Let's check it out. What has Riot made for us this time? Chapman's like so weird, but interesting and weird. Oh, hey, 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 oof. Okay, so the league was true, right? So he does have 5 weapons. That's true. So, the way I think it's gonna work is I think the sickle is gonna be like a ranged attack. That's gonna be like thresh type of ranged attack, where it is, but it isn't. The second weapon he came out with was this one, which I mean literally looks like a weapon straight from Halo. But this one, the way he aims it right here, looks like it's gonna be a long range weapon, right? It has to be some kind of rifle type weapon or something like that, or a sniper maybe. I don't know. This one, the way he holds it, looks like it's gonna be something like that fires, grenade launchers kind of thing. That's just the way he holds it. That's instantly the first thing I think of, grenade launching type of weapon. Moving along, we also have this one, which I'm not really sure. I mean, it looks like maybe it's like a rocket launcher the way he holds it on his shoulder. It's either a rocket launcher or a sniper. I don't know which one it is. It's one of the two. But based on the way he holds it on his shoulder, that's what it seems like. And this is gonna be, I'm assuming, his like melee assassin weapon. That's what it kind of seems like. I don't know, it's hard to tell, man. It's really confusing. But thankfully, guys, we don't have to just guess only from that, because check it out. We have this website right here. So we're gonna take a look at this website together right here, right now. And let me go ahead and switch it to here. And then we can go boop. Beautiful. All right, so this is gonna explain a lot more. Aphelios Kit Primer. Most weapons, or champions rather, can be summarized relatively quickly, but Aphelios isn't most champions. Learning to wield the weapon of the faithful demands discipline, focus, and mental acuity. Acuity? I don't know. So consider this primer your first test of faith along the path to mastering a champion with one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. This page has a lot. Okay, this is gonna be interesting, guys. I will try to explain it for you. I mean, this is my first time reading it too, but I will try my best to read it and explain it to you guys as well. So let's take a look at this page, I guess. Guns, basic attacks, and ammo. Aphelios cycles through 5 weapons, each with its own basic attack. He attacks with his main hand weapon, but always carries an offhand weapon you can swap to with his W. Main hand, offhand. You can swap between those two, and then that's the other 3, I guess. So that's the 5 total weapons, right? And the main hand weapon, I guess, looks like it's that Halo weapon. I'm assuming. I don't know. That looks like the Halo weapon. Aphelios can't pick and choose which 2 weapons he equips at any given time. So he cannot. Keep that in mind. He cannot. His weapons have 50 ammo or moonlight each, and when a weapon runs empty, you get the next one in line. Empty weapons go to the end of the line to recharge. Okay, so he starts with his main hand, and that's his offhand, and I'm assuming that's how it starts, regardless of what you want to do, and that's always the order. That's what it seems like. I mean, I'm assuming. So once you fire off this weapon and use all of its ammo, it goes all the way here, and it's like a line, right? And then you go to the next one. Oh, you go to this one. Oh, okay, I see. So this is always your offhand weapon. So this is always his offhand weapon. Okay, so that makes sense. So you can't swap it at all. So this is literally his offhand weapon, like always, it seems like. And then you swap between 4 weapons. So you can use this one whenever you want with your W. And then this one, you run out of ammo, it goes here. Then you get this one. This one runs out of ammo. This one goes behind here. Then you get this one. You attack with it, 40 or 50 shots. This one runs out of ammo. It goes back here, right? Behind this one that's over here. And then this one goes here. And then you use this one. Once this one runs out of ammo, then the initial one comes back and you start again the cycle. But with that, you can always have this one as the weapon you use whenever you want. That's what it seems like. Now let's take a look at this next picture. Since Aphelios can swap between his main hand and offhand weapons, order changes throughout the game based on which weapon you used first. So in this case, the main hand weapon is going to be this one right here, which is actually going to be this one. Okay, so never mind, I guess. So apparently he can actually use this offhand as his main hand. So you can swap between those 2. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, so check it out. Let me explain it to you guys. Now I understand fully that we saw this picture. So the offhand weapon can actually be whichever weapon you want, but the only time that the offhand weapon can be swapped to the offhand weapon is from the main hand. So let me explain. So let's say at the moment, Using this picture, actually, let's say you're back to your, you just started the game or something. I don't know. You press W. Now these two swap, right? Now this becomes your main hand. This one becomes your offhand, like this. You can see here. Just disregard the X for now, right? So this is your offhand weapon, which you can, swap to whenever you want. You kind of store it. Think of it that way. Let's say you have like a weapon that you think you'll need to use very soon. Let's say a dragon fight is going to happen soon. And you're like, okay, well, in this dragon fight and based on the team comps, I know I'm going to need this weapon because of how it fires and the way it works. So you can store it as an offhand weapon, right? Is what I'm understanding. And then you'll have whatever the other one was that you currently had in your, out of the two weapons you have available, I guess, as your main hand. So in this case, it'll be this one, which pretty much is these two swapped. Then when this one's done, it continues the cycle. So this one's done, runs out of ammo, goes here, this one goes here. You use this one's ammo, this one goes back, now this one becomes your main hand. But then, let's say you have your dragon fight, you press W. Now you swap. Now this one becomes your main hand, and the one you currently had as your main hand, let's say was this one, becomes your offhand. Then what you can do with that is you can use this weapon as a main hand, use this ammo, etc., and then it goes back here. And then you get the next one in line, which I'm assuming will be this one, which we use initially, right? And then if you want, you can press W again, swap the two, take the one that you had as your main hand before, bring it back. You know what I mean? So the main hand is essentially you storing a weapon that you think you might need or that you maybe really like to use or something like that. While the other ones just keep cycling. And then you can W to swap them between each other whenever you want. I hope that makes sense. It is a little confusing, but it makes sense to me, and I'm hoping I'm explaining it clearly. Anyways, moving on. Aphelios only has 3 buttons, Q, W, and R. The W swaps his main hand and offhand weapons, leaving him with 2 actual abilities. Kind of. This is a weird champion. Each of Aphelios' 5 weapons has its own Q ability. Okay. When equipped as his main hand weapon. Each Q applies bonus attacks and effects based on his offhand weapon. Oh my god. Okay, that opens up a disgusting amount of probabilities or options, because if this is your main hand, and your offhand affects your main hand's Q on-hit damage or whatever, it depends on the offhand. So this one will give it its own effects. And if you have this one as the offhand, this one will give its own effects of this ability's Q damage. Because don't forget, each of them have their own Q, and based on whichever one you have in the offhand, which could be any of them as well, technically, other than, of course, your main hand, that also affects its Q's on-hit damage or whatever it is. I think it was on-hit damage, right? Yes. So, dude, each Q applies bonus attacks and effects based on its offhand weapon. Yeah, so that's a lot of like things. Like, that's ridiculous. All right, anyway, all 5 Qs cost mana and ammo, and each has its own cooldown. You can Q, switch guns, then immediately use the other Q. So in other words, you can Q, W, Q, or Q, run out of ammo, get the new one for your main hand from, the list, Q again. Aphelios automatically learns Q at level 2, and it slowly becomes stronger over the course of the game. We'll get to what each Q does in the weapon section below. Aphelios' ultimate, however, Moonlight Vigil, sends forward a moon bomb that explodes on the first enemy hit, damaging nearby enemies. Dude, this is so weird. Explodes on the first damaging nearby enemies hits. Okay, so then Aphelios follows up with the enhanced basic attack from his main hand weapon against all enemies caught in the explosion. He automatically learns R at level 6, and then automatically levels up at 11 and 16. This is cool though. It's so confusing. My goodness, if you're just like a new player, or you don't play this game seriously at all, or like, you're just not someone that's just good at games, this is not the champion. This is not the champion to play, man. This is really, really confusing, but also really interesting. So again, similar to this that we just read with this Q, they didn't talk about his... Oh, he doesn't have an E. QWR. Oh, he doesn't even have an E. Okay, so I guess it's not that bad, technically. I don't know. It's still pretty confusing, though. Anyway, so his ultimate, similar to the way his Q works, is affected by his main hand weapon this time. So this one's affected by his offhand. This one's affected by his main hand. So his ultimate has essentially 5 versions of it, if that makes sense, right? 5 versions based on your main hand, the current one you have. Level ups. Since Aphelios automatically learns his Q and R, he puts his level 18 level up points into his stats. Okay. Attack damage, attack speed, and bonus armor penetration. Cool. All right, let's take a look at the weapons. The first one, the rifle. So I was right. It is the rifle. Caliber, which is not a Q. That's just a weapon, I guess, is how it works. Caliber is a poke harass weapon. It's a basic attacks have extra range. When abilities deal damage with Caliber, they mark enemies' hits. Aphelios can right-click marked enemies anywhere on the map to follow up with a basic attack from his offhand weapon. I'm sorry, well, let me just read that one more time. So when his abilities deal damage with this weapon, they mark enemies' hits, and that he can right-click a marked enemy anywhere on the map anywhere on the map. I mean, I'm assuming there's a cooldown to that. And follow up with a basic attack from his offhand weapon. Anywhere on the map. Okay. Or his non-caliber weapon in cases where he swaps caliber to his offhand before firing. Yeah, so what happens then? So what if in case he swaps caliber to his offhand? So what if you attack with this, marked him, press W, and then I'll attack him again? What happens? I guess he fires with his whatever his current main weapon is. This attack detonates other nearby marks for bonus damage against the mark. Wow, that's interesting. So you want to like, dude. So that'd be a sick team fight thing. You can start with this in team fights, right? Mark as pretty much try to attack as many people as you can that are in range of you, and then detonate it with either this weapon or another weapon. That's actually pretty cool. Anyway, his Q fires a skill shot that damages the first unit hit and marks them, and then his ultimate, combined with of course this weapon being your main weapon. Moonlight Vigil's follow-up attacks marks all enemies hit, and these marks deal damage higher. Wow, that's really powerful for team fights. Hugely powerful for team fights. Huge AoE damage. All right, moving along. This is the pistol. I mean, it doesn't really look like a pistol, but I guess it is. Severum, the scythe pistol. Okay. Severum is a sustained weapon that heals Aphelios for a portion of the damage it deals. I mean, it makes sense. It's like a scythe, right? Or sickle. Scythe. Overhealing from Severum is converted into a small shield. So like the runes. I wonder if we take both of them, do you get like a double shield? Maybe, probably. Severum Q, Onslaught. Gain movement speed and rapidly fire your main hand and offhand weapon at the nearest enemy, prioritizing champions, and Onslaught shots behave like basic attacks but deal reduced damage. So you get movement speed, nice little, what's the range? It doesn't say the range, right? I'm assuming it's ranged. It's a pistol. And rapidly fire your main hand and offhand together at the nearest enemy. So it's kind of like some Lucian vibes to it, like a Lucian ultimate almost in a way. It feels like, honestly. And then his ultimate with this weapon is Moonlight Vigil grants Aphelios a flat heal. Okay, nice little basic, nothing too crazy. Pretty cool, I like it. Gravitum the Cannon. But don't forget that they did say that your offhand weapon, when you use your Q, does affect it in different ways based on the offhand. So I'm not sure if they explained that here. Next, we have the cannon. So I was right, it is like a cannon type weapon, which is cool. Gravitum. Gravitum is a utility weapon that applies a decaying slow to enemies. Okay, so it's like a nice way to start things off in a team fight, then swap to like the rifle, and then boom, 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 and then swap again. I don't know. Could be pretty cool. Or no, what you can do is you can use this Q, swap to the rifle, use the ultimate with the rifle, boom, done. Since they're slowed, it kind of guarantees the hits. Gravitum Q, Eclipse. Damage and root all enemies on the map affected by Gravitum's slow. What? Damage and root all enemies on the map? Oh, affected by its slow. Okay. That's the Q. Eclipse doesn't use Aphelios' offhand weapon. So this one actually doesn't. Okay. So this one, if you auto-attack them with the Gravitum, it applies the decaying slow. Then you can Q, which is not a skill shot apparently. It just works. And you damage and root them. So it becomes a root instead of a slow. Really strong actually. And if his ultimate, you use it with this weapon, the Moonlight Vigil's follow-up attacks apply a massively increased slow. So can you like go into a slow, into a root damage, just into another slow, I guess? I guess that's how it would work. And this is the Flamethrower. Ooh, that's sick. I like that. Let's check it out. Infernum. Infernum is an AoE wave clear weapon. It deals increased basic attacks. It deals increased basic attack and ability damage and creates a damage cone behind enemies' hits. If you use the Q, it spouts a wave of flame, damaging enemies, then basic attack, all enemies hit with your offhand weapon. So you go like this, and then take out the other weapon and go boom, boom, boom. That's pretty sick. Moonlight Vigil Infernum effect. Moonlight Vigil's follow-up attacks create damage circles around enemies hit instead of damage cones behind them. Damage circles. That means in teamfights, it'll be a lot harder for enemies to teamfight if it's circles because they can't really be beside each other. Interesting. Very interesting. So it's like it forces them to not be together anymore because they'll just get completely wrecked, I guess. And then the last one, Crescendum, the Chakram. Crescendum is a close-range DPS weapon that behaves like a boomerang. Once Aphelios basic attacks with this weapon, he can't attack again until it returns to him, but his attack resets when it does. Attack speed increases the travel speed of this weapon. The closer Aphelios is to his target, the less distance Crescendum has to travel, and the faster Aphelios can attack. Okay, so it's like an assassin-y sort of close-range weapon. When Aphelios or their follow-up attack Oh, when abilities or their follow-up attacks deal damage with Crescendum, they create temporary copies of it for each enemy hit that increases the strength of Crescendum's basic attack. My goodness, that is confusing. Let me read that one more time. When abilities or their follow-up attacks, I'm assuming from your offhand, deal damage with Crescendum. So I'm assuming that's what that applies essentially your like offhand weapon or something. They create a temporary copy of it for each enemy that it hits with increased strength of Crescendum. So it like copies it or something. That's really confusing. I have to like just see it in action to really understand that. Sentry. Deploy a turret that shoots a nearby target with your offhand weapon. Dude, this is the most confusing champion I've ever seen in my life. And then the ultimate with this weapon is if Moonlight Vigil hits fewer than 3 enemies, its follow-up attacks still hit or still increase the damage of Crescendum's basic attacks as if there were at least 3 enemies hit. What? If it hits fewer, okay, let's say it hits 2, right? Then it means that its follow-up attacks. What follow-up attacks? That's the part I'm kind of confused about. Still increase the damage of, I'm assuming like the offhand weapons, maybe a Q or something like that. Those are follow-up attacks, right? So I'm assuming things like that. Increase the damage of Crescendum's basic attacks as if it were at least 3 enemies were hit. Okay. Holy shit. What the f is this, dude? All right. This is this custom UFC. All the stuff above is a lot to take in and a lot to track. Aphelios has a unique HUD to ease his burden. So now we have number 1, his passive, explaining Aphelios' weapons and level ups, right? Number 2, the current main hand. Offhand. No, that's his Q. Sorry. The W is the offhand and the remaining ammo. Okay. This is the next weapon you have coming up. And then this is ultimate. That HUD looks really cool, actually. And then Weapon of the Faithful. Oh, that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Well, that's the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Hopefully, I explained it. I mean, I'm still a little confused myself, but I feel like I understand most of it. The one I'm most confused about is the final one. This is really confusing. But yeah, hopefully I explained it to you guys. This is a long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, but there is just an absolutely disgusting amount of information. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, let me know what you think about it down below. Hit that like button. When it comes out to PBE, we'll make videos and we'll explain it. We'll play it. We'll figure it out. And yeah, until then, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.